Welcome to the Effortless English Show with the world's #1 English teacher, AJ Hoge, where AJ's more than 40 million students worldwide finally learn English once and for all, without the boring textbooks, classrooms, and grammar drills. Here's AJ with a quick piece to help you learn to speak fluent English effortlessly.
Hi, I'm AJ Hoge, the author of Effortless English, Learn to Speak English Like a Native. Join one of my English courses at effortlessenglishclub.com. effortlessenglishclub.com. Job interviews in English. Scary, difficult, right? Job interviews are difficult anyway, in any language, even in your own language. A job interview can be very difficult, can be scary, can make you nervous. How do you prepare? How can you get ready for a job interview? How can you give good answers? Well, I'm going to continue doing shows on this topic because it's an important topic. And as an English learner, there's a good chance now or in the future, you will want a job using English. Often, you can get more money or get a better position if you speak English well. But for those positions, you often will need to interview in English, which is a little scary. So let's talk about a specific question. Let's talk about a question that's very common. I'm going to do some shows on common interview questions and give you ideas for answering them powerfully. So our first question, today's question, job interview. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about yourself. This is a very common interview question. Now, usually this question is right at the beginning of an interview. Sometimes they'll do it on the phone, sometimes in the face-to-face interview, but it's going to be right at the beginning usually. The challenge with this question is it's so general. What should you talk about? Tell me about yourself. Should you say, I'm really active and I like to exercise a lot and physical fitness is important to me and I was born in March and I'm 48 years old and I'm married and that kind of stuff? No. You don't want to do that. So what's a good answer? Well, how should you answer this? It's so general, and that's the danger of this question. Because if you're not ready for it, when they ask you a question like this, you might just start kind of nervously talking, right? And you might start saying a lot of stuff that is not necessary, that's not useful, and possibly you might say stuff that's even damaging that will hurt your interview. And that's one reason some job interviewers like these kinds of questions. Some of them will use these very big general questions to try to get you talking a lot. And they're looking for bad things. They're looking for you to say something that you normally might hide. Because you're nervous, because the question's so general, they just get you talking blah, 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 and then you might show something that you normally would not. Because see, the interviewers, the people doing the interviewing, they know that all of the interviewees, you and the others, they know you're trying to hide the bad stuff, the weaknesses. They know you're trying to sound great and show only your big, fantastic strengths. So they know everybody's bullshitting, we say. It's using it as a verb, bullshitting kind of means lying, right? It kind of means faking is a better way to say it. So they know that everybody's doing that. So their job is to try to find the truth about you. Okay? It's a little game that is played in interviews. Your part of the game is to just show all the super positive stuff about yourself, make yourself sound fantastic. You're selling yourself. But the interviewer, they're part of the game too. Their part is to try to dig in and find the real truth, find your true strengths, find your true weaknesses, find out if you really are indeed great for the job, or are you just pretending? So this is the little game, and they've got a lot of little tricks to try to find out the truth. And one of the tricks is this: very, very, very general, vague questions. Tell me about yourself. So there are two ways to answer this question, and any very general question, actually. But one thing you can do with the general question, tell me about yourself. What are you like? Things like that. They're super general, right? One thing you can do is you can ask for more information. You can ask questions. This also gives you a chance to think. It gives you a few extra seconds to get your brain moving. So you could say, well, what specifically would you like to know? See, that gives you a little time, first of all, to think and get ready. But it also guarantees that you won't answer in some weird way that they're not looking for. Right? So you ask them to be more specific. You get a more specific question. More specific questions are usually easier to answer. So that's one thing you can do. And you can do that with any very general question that's vague, where you're not quite, where the question seems so huge and big and vague and general. You can always ask for more details. You can always say, well, what specifically would you like to know? That's a good little sentence to learn. It's a good question to learn. You can use it a lot in job interviews to get more clarity, to be more clear about what they're looking for. So, what specifically would you like to know? What specifically, that's the important word, specifically, would you like to know? This will help you a lot with the vague questions. Okay, now back to that one question. Tell me about yourself. What are they looking for? They're not looking for anything about your personal life. Don't talk about your personal life. Don't talk about your family. Don't talk about your religion, certainly not. Don't talk about your hobbies. Don't talk about your general beliefs. None of that stuff. A really safe and solid answer for that question is just to review your job history. That's all. Tell me about yourself. Well, my most recent job was as an English teacher at a place called IIC, which you can see on my resume. And so number one, I'm just giving my job history, right? I'm basically just repeating my resume in many ways. So I talk about my most recent job. If I was currently working somewhere, I would talk about the current job. So number one, you just talk about what was your position, where were you working. Next thing, talk about what did you learn at that job. What did you do at the job and what did you learn? Important, okay? So what did you do? I was an English teacher there. I taught English speaking classes, mostly to intermediate students. Really simple, what I did. But here's the important part. This is what makes the answer powerful. Next, talk about what you learned at that job and what you accomplished. Now, you'll get into this more later in the interview. This is a general question, so you give a general answer. You don't need lots of details and examples for this question because it's so general. So you just say, I taught speaking English. And there I learned how to be a more energetic and entertaining teacher. Because that school, they needed more students. And my manager wanted the teachers to keep and to bring in more and more and more students to help the school. So he wanted the teachers to be entertaining, to be fun, to be interesting. And so I learned how to be much more entertaining and fun from that challenge at that job. That's it. That's all you got to say. That answers that. Tell me about yourself. Simple. So you don't need to go on and on and on and on forever. That's not necessary. Talk about your work history. Talk about your most recent job. And again, where did you work? What did you do there? What were the main things you did? And then the important part that makes your answer better and different than most, what did you learn there? What important skills did you learn there? Now, when you're giving that answer, what you learned, the skills you learned, be sure that it fits the job you're trying to get. Okay? So if I was trying to get a job and I knew they wanted a high energy teacher, they wanted someone entertaining, they wanted someone who would bring in lots of students, well, that would be my answer. But if I was applying for a job that wanted different skills, then I would focus on different skills in my answer. So you've got, again, you always have to do your research for the jobs you're trying to get. You got to find out, what are they looking for? What do they want? And then you fit your answers to what they're looking for. But anyway, that's a very general formula for that tell me about yourself question. Just give your recent job history. Where were you? What did you do? What did you learn? What useful skills that will help you at this job you're trying to get? So that's it. Now, as I said, just to repeat one more time, the very, 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 very general, big questions like that, you can also ask for more specifics. Right? What would you specifically like to know? What specifically would you like to know? And in fact, really in job interview questions, you can kind of use that trick at any time to, if you're not sure, like if they ask a question, let's say they say, what's your greatest weakness? And your mind just stops. And you don't know what to say. Use that same question. Ask them a question back. Well, what specifically would you like to know? Right? You can always use that. It's a useful question. You can use it with almost every interview question. We call this buying time. You're buying yourself time. It means your brain stops for a second and you need a little time to get thinking again. So how do you do that? Well, one easy way is you ask a question back and you just ask for more specific information. What specifically would you like to know? And who knows, they might just repeat the question again. Well, just tell me about your greatest weakness. But it gives you a few extra seconds. It sounds fine. It's a nice question you can ask. Makes you sound professional. But you get a few more seconds to think. So that's another little extra secret. Now, as I said in a past show, you have to have the general mindset in job interviews of contributing, right? You got to sell the interviewer on you. You're making a sales presentation. So what you have to do is you have to convince them that you will contribute to their company, their department, right? You're going to add something. You're going to add value to them. It's not about you. It's not about, oh, I'm so great, I'm so great, I'm so great. That's not really the attitude. The attitude is, I can help you. I can help you. I will be useful for your company. I will be useful for you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to solve problems for you. I'm going to contribute and be useful. That's the attitude. That's the very general attitude you want to have with every single job interview and every single answer to every single question. All right, finally, you are part of the Effortless English family. We're a very special group. We're an international group of independent learners. That means you are the boss of your own learning. I'm here to be the coach. I'm the father of the Effortless English family, but you're the boss of your own learning, and that's great. But we're not all alone, because we have a code, of how we treat each other. And this is so important. And the main part of our code is we show each other we care. We show each other we care. So, so, so important. So I care about you, and thank you for caring about me and for caring about all of the other Effortless English members. We're all independent learners, but we're also all here to support and help each other. Join one of my English courses at effortlessenglishclub.com. That's effortlessenglishclub.com.